This is the LowcoSports Lowdown podcast. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett and Wes Kerr.
Hey, LowcoSports fans. Original intro there tonight. Max taking the night off, so it's the OGs, JJ and Wes Kerr, with you tonight on a Monday night edition of the LowcoSports Lowdown, coming back from a busy weekend, and we went through a lot of the deets last night in one form or fashion on the LowcoSports Network. We were on Soundtrack Rewind last night, myself, Bracken Lambert, and Donald the Stat Man. And then we had a Lowco Grind last night, myself, George Dixon, Coach Rutherford from Battery Creek, and Coach Hagan from Bridges Prep joining us last night. So, good times are happening in winter sports. Lowco Hoops Report is off and running. We'll have another fully dedicated hoop show at some point soon to break it down for the hoop heads. But kind of a slow Monday night, but a lot to talk about over the weekend. And you are back with a new computer, so we figured we'd go ahead and give it a shot tonight.
Great to be back. Had some technical issues, but got to get myself a nice early Christmas present and all set to go. Back here on a Monday night, and still got to go to some action this weekend. It was an action-packed weekend. We had that, of course, you mentioned the Lowco Grind. We had the Low Country Championships over at the Hilton High School, and I was over Hilton at Prep all afternoon. And man, the guys' game wasn't as great. Hilton Prep blew them out, but the girls' game, the Dolphins with the dramatic victory over Hilton Head Christian over Bluffton rather. They play Hilton Christian Academy on Friday. They play Bluffton on Saturday, and it was a Donnybrook of a game. It was an all-out duel between Courtney Campbell and Amira Brown, and Courtney with the game tying three with about 20 seconds to go, and then hit the game-winning free throws after the Prep forced a turnover. And man, what a tremendous game that was. Went down to the wire. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Lady Dolphins. They're growing up. Obviously, Courtney's a star, but you're seeing a lot more role players this year from that team early on. So great to see them. And of course, the Dolphin boys lighting up right now. Really impressive dominant win over Hilton Head Christian Academy, and they are looking like a formidable force in Skis 3A with the weapons that they have, and they just seem to reload every year and bring new guys in, and they're looking as strong as ever. What a performance over the weekend! Ty Harpering, the senior guard who they brought in, he had himself a terrific game, especially on Friday. But he was noticeable on Saturday as well when they got the 2 wins in 2 days over there. But yeah, Prep is looking as solid as you think they would be at this point of the year, and they're not really going to be challenged in this region. This region is almost a cakewalk for them with teams like St. John's Christian and Patrick Henry. But you're trying to, at the same time, you're trying to get the opportunity to play against some strong opponents, and hopefully we'll see that in a non-region part of the year so they can prepare for the postseason. But right now they're looking like certainly a favorite, if not more than that, in 3A boys early on. But you can see how solid they could potentially be again this year. But great atmosphere. It's great turnout. I'll tell you what, the student section Hilton Head Prep was tremendous, and I got like a whole fan club over there. It's awesome.
Love that. I do get notes every now and then from somebody who will be like, Wes is holding it down in our game. You're definitely a celebrity. They're excited to see Wes when he comes out to the game. So you have some highlights from those Prep versus Bluffton games that we'll check out here momentarily. But first, I wanted to say that the LowcoSports Lowdown brought to you by our all-star sponsors, our original sponsors, Mickelson Law Firm. They've been with us since the beginning. We got started in 2017, and they were our first sponsors. Been supporting us ever since. They're big fans fans of sports in the Low Country, and they want to help us shine a light on the teams and student athletes representing the Lowco and doing great things out there. So if you have legal needs, call on Mickelson Law Firm. They are our official real estate closing attorney, and they are the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. So thanks to Mickelson Law Firm. You got some highlights from these games. Let's check them out and see what we got here.
Yeah, the girls' game, especially the one against Bluffton, I mentioned how good that was. The Bobcats are growing. You see a lack of high-end star power compared to last season, but
sure,
they hung in this game, and Prep had a decently sized lead for the majority of it. Into the fourth of them, Bluffton went on a run, sparked by Myra Brown, who had 26. Courtney with 26 as well. So it was a nice duel between those two down the stretch. But Courtney Campbell showing some nice footwork and good ball handling there. She is looking the part, and former or future USCB Sand Shark, as we heard recently, if the rumors are true. But man, this was quite a game, and impressed by both teams. Impressed by the fight of both teams and the talent level of both these teams. And even though a squad like Bluffton has taken a step back, you're starting to see some other players rise to the level of an emerging player like Amira Brown. So there were certainly others who showed out and impressed in this game, but man, talk about the fight for Hilton Head Prep, because there were a couple times where Bluffton was starting to pull away. But it was Courtney Campbell, or it was somebody else who was able to make a big shot. So a lot of credit to the Lady Dolphins and how they were able to defend off a couple situations this game, or it looked like Bluffton was going to surge ahead, and they did for a bit. But as it went down the stretch here, the Dolphins were able to just hang around, pick up a couple of important buckets, and then you get the heroics from Courtney Campbell. But some excellent passing is a nice rebound there for the putback as we go down into the last couple of minutes here.
Oh, nice dish, Court.
Courtney didn't go, but the offensive four and then a three. Almost
man.
Myra
they're getting good looks.
There was looks there, but the assertive drive on the other end by Myra Brown, number one, she was sensational, and I'll tell you what, that Bluffton crowd, they brought some great supporters over there. They were getting loud when Myra was making some buckets down the stretch in this game. But once again, credit to the Dolphins for hanging in there. And I may have just another mystery, same spot.
Yeah,
we weren't able to get the shots to fall for a decent portion or towards the end, but
there's one.
Just
she drained one earlier from that same spot. I thought she was going to knock it down again. No, they've got some skilled players. You can tell they're a little more skilled around her than they've been. They had a bunch of athletes who were scrappy before, but you can tell they got a couple of kids who are basketball players. As I say that as they throw up a bunch of air balls, but you can just tell by the way
sometimes
and how smooth
you never can doubt the ability of those players to keep shooting and continuing to continue what they're trying to do is improve their shooting, but also there's a sense where, okay, you want to get the best shot possible, but that's what we see. Here's the big three, I believe, from Campbell there.
Yeah, tied at 42 right there.
Yep. They forced the turnover, and then Campbell. Unfortunately, the video kind of a little blurry there, but Campbell to the rim, got fouled, and then hits both to give Hilton Head Prep the lead.
5.9,
and that was around like 5 seconds left, so that pretty much did it. Bluffton wasn't able to get much of a shot off. Yep.
Interesting that ball's not in Amira's hands there. Was she?
Yeah, you would assume
she foul out of the game on that previous foul?
Yeah,
Uh,
good on good on Bluffton for rallying back, but Hilton Head
yeah,
Prep
great
was
job.
getting the win. The guys' game was all Dolphins. Tremendous passing. The defense kind of really shined early for Prep. Bluffton was able to get a couple more looks as it went on, but they were able to shut down Harry for a good part of that first half, and big number 55 as well. We did not see his
Brandon
name
White.
called
Yeah,
very often. So great on the Preps defense and some timely shooting. They got some dudes who can hit some shots, including Ty Happering. Um, Brendan Moore had a nice game, and then Luke Eanes. So we talked about Kane Eanes. I'm guessing that's
right.
a younger brother
Yep.
of
Oh,
Kane
bro.
Eanes, Luke. So they got they continue to really present that strong motion offense where you have a couple of guys who can light it up and just great
Ooh.
fundamental passing. And they, sometimes they will go for shorter possessions, but other times they do like to hold the ball and try to find the best shot. And it's a really well run offense. It's a different personnel, but they, it's very similar to what we've seen from other prep teams, the way they play, but they
Yeah,
continue to grab some talent and get those transfers that are able to produce and make the formidable team to play. And I'm it's tough to see who really can challenge them in this region because I feel like they have certainly have a great chance of running through that. And then there might be some. There's always some tough teams that sneak up into the 3A classification. So we'll see there. But Hilton had prep with the size and with the talent that we have seen so far through a couple of games this year. They're looking like a strong squad once again in Ski 3A hoops. But for Bluffton, you know, you wish you could have executed a little better in that first half. I thought they kind of because it was like a 10-point lead around that, and then Bluffton hung in and made it a little tired. They cut it down to around 8, but just weren't able to string some possessions together and make the shots. They had a couple of decent looks and were not able to hit those shots. And if Harry was able to knock down a few more, if some of those other guys like Jamari Stewart Manning were able to convert, could be a different game. But just unable to really find those shots in the second half was bluffing to get back in it. But Grant Hilton at prep, they're looking like a very solid squad, and he's a 3A right now, and it's it's definitely looking very possible that they go all the way to Sumter and cut down the nets again.
yeah, I would think so. I mean, the question coming into this year was like who was going to be the big scorer, right? But then Harpering fell in their lap.
Mhm.
Uh, Coming in from Atlanta area, if you are old like me, you know the name Harpering. Matt Harpering played at Georgia Tech and then in the NBA for a good while. This is a nephew tie. 27 points against Bluffton, 6 of 13 from the field, 4 of 9 from three, 11 of 12 from the line. 4 boards. So just a really productive output from him. Connor Campbell had 6 assists, which is
I like how you bring him up because I meant to shout out earlier, but I was there with Max and we were watching
yeah,
the game in the second half, and it's just it's important to have someone with the continuity of this program, and he's been there for a number of years. He
yep,
knows the system and he knows what his role, and so that is everything to bring back a guy like Connor Campbell because he's been
yeah,
really underappreciated, very underappreciated member of this team throughout these last 2 championship runs. So it's so invaluable to have him for another year. It's great to bring in some new guys. You want to have that player who's been with the program a lot and a veteran of the system. So having Connor Campbell as that passer and ball distributor, and then someone who can hit a shot from time to time, that's important. And he's always a great hustler and defender out there. So he kind of makes this team go in so many different ways. So very, very important that he continues to be one of those drivers of this team this year. Obviously, you got the star power of a guy like Ty, who they brought in to be that guy, to have that high usage and to be that high octane player of this offense. But you have other guys, and Billy Barron's provide a role. Brendan Moore's provide a role. Luke Gaines provide a role, and
yep,
you got guys like Jake Sheehan as well. So it's not a incredibly deep team. The starters are and that's really all you need.
Right.
at this level. You're not always going to have deep teams in Skiza, but you have, if you stay healthy and you have those starting five plus another who can get you quality minutes, and they seem like they have once again just great chemistry with each other very quickly, and just playing really strong fundamental basketball and in sync basketball. And when you get to see it start rolling like that, it'll then prep. These teams in the past have been very hard to stop. So I think they're right now. I wish it. Wish they could play JP2 again in this region, but fortunately, not in the same region anymore. It's
Right.
uh, different landscape this year in Skiza, and Prep has a little easier in 3A for sure. And although I definitely think they could compete in 4A and challenge for
I
those
do too.
teams in 4A.
But I think the depth is. I'm glad you brought that up because I think that is the one sort of Achilles heel that could show itself. They only played 6 guys against Bluffton, and if you get in any kind of foul trouble or at all, that 6-man rotation is dicey.
Hmm.
So they're going to have to develop some depth to deepen that bench a little bit, and have some guys that they can trust to play meaningful minutes. Throughout the season so that they can be ready for that one game when 2 guys get, 2 quick ones or 3 quick ones, and you've got to go to that bench, and you don't want to have a hole out there, a glaring hole. So because that offense doesn't work, and the team defense, they play so much zone, and the team defense doesn't work if you've got a weak link. So I think that's the one thing that probably they're a little concerned about, and that they'll continue to work to develop as the season goes on. But when they're starting 5 or 6, their top 6 are on the floor, it's a well-oiled machine, and you better have a game plan and you better execute it. They're that kind of team. So yeah, that was big stuff over the weekend. Friday night stuff we mostly covered, but there may have been a couple scores that we didn't have yet the other night, but I think we mostly got through it. Battery Creek continues to look really good on the boys' side. Blew out Whale Branch Friday night after blowing out Bishop England. They've got a big one tomorrow night at, I believe, Beaufort. Yeah, at Beaufort tomorrow night. So, those boys definitely want to make a statement there. That's going to be a very interesting game. And the girls' game is interesting as well because Creek beat Whale Branch by 1. Beaufort beat Whale by 5. It's 2 pretty young teams, new coach at Creek. So I think those games are going to be great tomorrow night. That should be good. And then JP2 May River tomorrow night is very interesting as well. Both boys and girls games, I think, are going to be
Very nice. And another cool high school league versus Skiza match, which I think we're very competitive. I feel like this year, a lot of these. I mean, Bluffton Hilton Prep was terrific. The girls was great. The guys certainly not. Both teams are on the same level, but I feel like a lot of these teams in these different classifications are so evenly matched this year, and it's going to be a good litmus test for both of these teams, especially a squad like Hilton or a squad like May River. And I'm excited to see what Terry Kicks will do with this team because I was impressed with just the demeanor and her mission and how she was going to help motivate these players heading into a year like this. And so, looking forward to seeing how they do early on in the year. But then again, GP2, that's a team trying to find its footing. That's they've had some solid years in the past, but trying to get back to that level. But the guys' game should be great, especially JP2's got guys have had a couple of nice wins early in the year. They were right. I mean, they got a dub against Hilton Prep. That's that's great to see the competitiveness from that Golden Warrior squad. I'm excited to see what both teams have in a game like that. I expect it to be competitive. That guys game, the 10th for the nightcap over there at is that the tank?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's at May River.
at the tank.
At Shark Tank. Yep. Creek Beaufort, great rivalry. These teams were in the same region, but not anymore. But those, I feel like Beaufort's own. They're going to jump on that one for sure.
Oh yeah, they're there. In fact, they've got a full slate this week because they've got rivalry games all
galore.
week there. So they're going to have Battery Creek Beaufort tomorrow, and then they'll have Battery Creek Whale Branch on Friday. And I guess they're not doing Whale Branch Beaufort on Saturday. But they are doing Branchville at Bluffton next week, as well as Richmond Hill at Hillman High. So they've got a bunch of games stacked up. So be sure to check out Beaufort's Own any Tuesday or Friday night, Saturday night. You better check Beaufort's Own and see if there's a game on if you're sitting around, because there's probably one to watch. So good stuff over there from Javon and company. And if you missed the game, you can always check out the highlights. They always pump out the condensed game highlights. I think of it as it's like kind of more than just the basic highlights. It's like all the key buckets. So pretty cool job they do over there. So go check out Beaufort's Own. Couple of scores from tonight that I've come across. We had a little Lowco on Lowco hoops action in Skiza. Patrick Henry girls beat Thomas Hayward 57-24, but the boys from Thomas Hayward get the dub 56-48, which I think that was their first game.
Yeah, coming off that state championship football, and
right, they never schedule
and company.
They don't schedule early games for basketball because they know
right
they have to be busy.
Yeah, you gotta get those guys from football shape in the back, because most of them play multiple sports at the Skiza
Right.
1A level, so you expect to see that. But for 2A, whatever classification they are, because normally they're not the same for football versus other sports. But yeah, that's a nice rivalry game. Those Thomas Hayward Rebels and Patrick Henry Patriots. We've seen a lot of terrific athletes come through both those schools recently, and they always play tight and exciting games over there. So congrats to the Thomas Hayward Rebels picking up right where they left off. The between the last two Skiza 1A football champions, duking it out on the basketball court. So
and if
Tony
you
O'Banner
if you haven't seen Tony O'Banner play basketball, it's pretty fun to watch.
Oh, I get gonna find some highlights. If not, head over to watch him play sometime, because wouldn't be surprised to see him make some ridiculous plays out there.
Oh yeah, he's pretty special, honestly. Like if he didn't play football, we'd be talking about him as a high profile ball player. He's tremendous at whatever sport he chose to be his main sport. He was going to be really, really good at, and he's good at everything he tries. Phenomenal athlete. So definitely looking forward to checking out Thomas Hayward basketball. I think they're actually kind of going to be a sleeper, in a team that hasn't really been that much of a factor for the last few years, but I think this particular group might have a little juice. So we'll see what they look like. That's a nice win over Patrick Henry. That's not an easy one. If you got Ridgeland scores against Baptist Hill tonight, hit us up. Love to hear those. We got some Ridgeland fans who tune in. If they won, Ridgeland will be on here. That one called Ridgeland, he'll be on here telling us. So we'll see. Asking us if we talked about it yet. That's what he'll be saying. But let's shout out some sponsors. We got the MVP sponsors of LowcoSports. We got Base Hit Life, our apparel partner, with all kinds of cool baseball and softball themed apparel, including cool hoodies. It's chilly out there. You need you a hoodie, get you one from Base Hit Life at basehitlife.com. And live your best base hit life and support one of our sponsors. That's at basehitlife.com. This cat is driving me crazy. We've also got Homegrown Home Inspections, best home inspectors in the Lowco. And if you're buying a home, you want to have it checked out by Homegrown Home Inspections. Make sure it's good to go. If you're building a new home, you got to have their phased inspection where they check on it every step of the way and make sure it's built right with Homegrown Home Inspections. Hospice Care of the Low Country, great spot, great nonprofit here in the Low Country, providing palliative care, hospice care, free grief counseling, and much more. And Hospice Care of the Low Country, where it's not about dying, it's about living. And the USC Center for Low Country Hospitality Education is providing great resources to the community, including the Bluffton Ambassadors and Island Ambassadors programs. Hit up the Low Country USCB Center for Low Country Hospitality Education to find out more. Those are MVP sponsors. I had us ready to talk a little bit of wrestling, since you didn't get to join us for the grind last night.
Yeah, we got this show is we have our specialty shows, but hey, this one's got to cover all of our big events. So Let's
Yeah.
talk. Let's give a quick run through of what happened
Yeah,
over
so we had
weekend.
the second annual Low Country Championships over at Hilton Head High. Had the JV divisions on Friday night and had some good wrestling out there. A lot of kids wrestling, which is great. I love what they're doing this year across the entire kind of wrestling community in the area to try to get those JV kids more matches, just to get them more development, because those are the guys that are going to fill spots in your lineup next year and the year after. So you want them getting that practice, but you need matches too to really, you can't simulate that. So that's been tremendous. Not as concerned about the scores and results and all that, because it's not really a true test. You can have multiple people in one weight class, so it's not really the same from a team score standpoint. But on the varsity side, May River still the king of the Loco. 222 points total, 6 champs, 3 runners up, 1 third place, 3 fourth place. So if you're doing the math, that's 13 out of 14 weights they placed at. 9 out of 14 they were in the finals. So very impressive showing from them. Bluffton eked out second over Beaufort, which was 1 point ahead of Hilton Head, which was a point and a half ahead of Bridges Prep. And then Battery Creek just 18 points behind Bridges Prep. So that's not a huge margin in wrestling scoring. So, really, you're seeing a lot of parity after you get past May River. You see that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 different teams have individual champs. May River, the only one with more than 2. So, you're seeing it spread across. And you look at Bluffton, Beaufort, Hilton Head, how close they are. That gives you an idea. And of course, a duel is going to be a little different than a tournament.
Right, you don't have the dual setup where you get everybody against everyone else, and you have all the matches by a certain weight class, and
Right.
there's a lot more that goes into a duel versus a tournament. Tournament's more of an individual based thing. Duel's more of a team first based thing. So
Exactly. So team scoring in a tournament is based primarily on your placement. You also get bonus points for major decision, tech fall, or pin, and advancement in the bracket, but it's just a different scoring system.
right,
And in a duel, there's also a lot of strategy involved. You may not have had the same head-to-head matchups that
right.
you would, because somebody's bumping
That's what
somebody.
makes it fun because there's so much strategy involved with the coaches and what you in terms of where you put your wrestlers and who matches up against who. It's a ton of fun. I love duels.
I do too. I
Yeah.
love them, love them, love them. Tournaments are great. I mean, I love the finals of an individual
Oh, for
tournament.
sure.
That's like high quality wrestling. The top 2 who made it through undefeated against each other.
Yeah.
That's tremendous. But the energy for a dual match, the back and forth, the ebb and flow. Somebody gets a pin and they're going crazy. The other team gets a pin and they're going crazy. It's so fun, and it's a different dynamic, certainly. So. This doesn't mean that this is going to be the pecking order in Region 6-4A when it comes to dual matches and all those. When you got 6 points per weight class, it's easy to swing. It's easy to swing a match on a couple of swing matches. So we'll have some really good duels coming up between those teams in 4A. To look at some of the champs, let's see here. There's your placers. So 106, Ryan Seaman from May River beating Kanan Tuttle from Bridges Prep in the finals. 13's not on here because it was a round robin, but Eli Garcia from Bluffton won the title there. 120, Marcus Folk with one of the biggest wins of the day for me, knocking off Bryce Stevenson from Hilton Head in the finals at 120. They're going to go at it a bunch more. They're both really good. Stevenson has had Marcus's number, I think, for a while, but
Yeah.
Marcus got him on Saturday. So they're going to go back and forth some more, I'm sure, unless one of them ends up dropping a weight class. Andre Jenkins from Bluffton taking third. Liam Engblom from May River took the title at 126 over Jose Catalan from Hilton Head. Cole Sowers, freshman for Hilton Head, with the championship at 132. He's been coming up through the ranks. Been waiting for him to get to high school for a while. He's a good kid. Ethan Fleming. Oh, Javari Bartley from Whale Branch. This third place match at 132 against Jackson was an incredible match. They were going back and forth, and Bartley ended up getting the pin. tremendous match. Ethan Fleming from Hilton Head taking 138 over Braxton Stevens from May River. This was a great match too. JJ Rodriguez edging, ended up pinning Wesley White in a crazy back and forth battle. Thomas Bro from May River over Ricky Najjar in the 144 finals. Nate Najjar at one for Ricky, by the way, first year wrestler. Nate Najjar from Battery Creek pinned Trevor Jones from Bridges in the 150 final. Blake Butler from May River beating Jessup Paris from Beaufort in the 157 final. Here was another good one. Gabe Fulton over Leandro Larinaga in a Bluffton versus May River battle. Really tough weight class. McKnight is a stud, and so is Kevin Summers. So that was a tough weight class. Ali Jenkins at 175 over Chase Richardson. Bridges Prep over Beaufort there. Joshua Echeverria from May River, still back for another year. Feels like he's been over there forever.
Yeah.
Down Landon Heath from Bluffton at 190. Colton Freeman, great to see him back on the mat. He was state champs in Skeeza at Thomas Hayward as an 8th grader.
Wow.
And then moved over to Beaufort for his high school career. Injured himself in football, had a knee injury in football last year and missed last season. And I think a little bit of this football season, but got out there this year and is back on the mat and looking really good. Won the title at 215 over Malachi Bynum from Hilton Head. And then Jerry Chavez, the big dog from Bridges Prep, in a tough match against Jaden Priester from Beaufort. That was a good weight as well. And hey, there's my guy. He took second, my son. This is our friendly nemesis, Miles DeGraffenried from Bridges Prep. He's been getting it the last couple of years, but we're going to keep working.
Keep grinding.
It was a great event.
Yeah, it's what a great kickoff to wrestling season to have it right here in the Low Country and have the best on best in terms of these local teams, and you get to. It's a good measuring stick for us to see, okay, who are the best individual wrestlers in the Low Country at the start of the season. See how it changes, but it's definitely a great window into who's going to be important for their teams early on and then into the latter half of the year. So, ton of fun, and congrats to the Sharks. They are they're really become the team to beat the last 4 years or so. I mean, they had a couple appearances in the state finals in terms of the duels. They've sent several wrestlers become state champs, and so everyone's chasing the Sharks now. Let's see if Hilton Head or if Bluffton, one of those teams, can kind of come back up to that level. Right now, that Shark program continues to be one of the best in 4A.
Yeah, they're exceptional, and it starts with Ashley Powell. He's
the man.
He's really good. He's really good, and I'm trying to. I don't know why I won't do this. I'm trying to get it to share. It won't share me photos anymore. I don't know why. I was going to share a photo of Ashley Powell looking like a dude on the side of the mat, but yeah, he's tremendous, and he's got a great staff too. I'm so excited that my son is going to be there next year and learning from them. I think they're really going to help him take his skills to the next level, and I look forward to him fighting trying to fight his way into that really tough lineup. That's what makes them good right now is they've got some serious depth, and they've got a bunch of people scrapping to try to get in that lineup and earn a spot. That internal competition is huge. I mean, knowing that there's somebody breathing down your neck waiting to take your spot is the ultimate motivator, to keep grinding. So they got a good thing going, but I obviously Bluffton continues to build its program. Nutter's doing a great job there. Newton being back at Hilton Head, he's every time he's there, they're strong. He builds them up fast and he keeps them there. And then I can't say enough about Kobe Peeler and Ron Lanham and the job that they've done recruiting at Beaufort, because the numbers they have are tremendous, and they got a few kids who are experienced wrestlers who are leading the way, and then they got a bunch of young guys and inexperienced guys who are putting in. You can tell that they're putting in the work, and they're going to going to keep getting better. So I think Beaufort's going to be a real factor in that region. And going into the season, I don't know that I felt that way. So it's cool, man. It's cool to see how far we've come in wrestling from when I got here in 05. And it was just it was a pretty raw landscape, and it's totally different now. And you have to give a lot of credit to Blake Maffei and Reverence, our sponsor, Reverence Wrestling Club, as well as, Patrick Bulware and Jeff Estrada and what they did on the island. Caleb Myers has come in as the middle school coach at Hilton Head. He's incredible. It's just a lot of people coming into the area who are invested in the sport and seeing it grow here and seeing the benefits that it brings passed on to a bunch of kids who buy into it. So good stuff, man. I'm excited about wrestling season. Had a great practice today at McCracken. We're fired up for a duel on Thursday at home. We got Bridges Prep and Bobby Smalls coming over. And told the kids today, they're coming over here to try to embarrass you in front of your mama and your girlfriend and your friends. And the only alternative is you got to try to embarrass them in front of their mama and their girlfriend and their friends, because somebody getting embarrassed tonight. It's a fair fight. We weighed you both to make sure. And now we're going to see who wins. So it's humbling when you lose, and it builds a lot of confidence when you win. Great sport. Let's see. We've got our varsity sponsors. DDS Web Design builds, hosts, and maintains websites for businesses and nonprofits that get results. So if you need to get found online so you can do more and think bigger, go to ddshhi.com. Parker Law Group serves legal needs across Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties and helps us continue to shine a light on teams and student athletes in that area. Dr. Ambrose Cole is our official chiropractor of LowcoSports. He's at Rooted Living Wellness in Bluffton, and he'll get you feeling right, mind, body, and spirit. And Reverence Wrestling Club, our aforementioned official wrestling sponsor and presenting sponsor of the aforementioned Lowco Grind, which you can check out from last night over on the Lowco Media Network on YouTube. Those are our varsity sponsors. Let's see, Wes, you got any other news items? I know you heard a little shout. I was busy wrestling the other day, but you heard a little shout out on game day.
Yeah, my guy Irv Mulligan, who he got a shout out. I don't know if because obviously
Well, he was named
everyone was talking about the guest picker, Tiffany
HBCU.
Chalamet, who was the tremendous actor. He has starred in a bunch of terrific movies, but he was the guest picker, and he made headlines because he was the only one to correctly predict the Ohio upsets when the Bobcats got their conference championship win as they took down Miami of Ohio. So yeah, he was the only picker of the panel. Nick Saban and everybody else, McAfee, whoever else picked that game. But I don't know if it was him or somebody else, but I was listening to it, and they were talking about the Jackson State game, and they're saying don't sleep on Irv Mulligan, or they shouted him out. And not only does that happen, but he puts up a tremendous game as Jackson State's football delivers a conference championship, 41-13 over Southern U as they win the SWAC. So big congratulations to Jackson State. That and Irv Mulligan is a big part of that. He had a terrific game on the ground. If I'm trying to pull up the box score now, but just awesome to see a guy like that get a shout out on College Game Day with such a the country watching, and what a year it has been for Jackson State's 11-2, and they are the champions of the SWAC, and they are headed to the Celebration Bowl against South Carolina State.
Yep.
It's a Lowco Bowl. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, baby. KJ Chisholm from Whale Branch also at Jackson State. We got a bunch of dudes on that South
Carolina State as well. We got.
Look at this. Irv Mulligan in the process of that game, passing Walter Payton's single season rushing yards record for Jackson State, which is, for someone of my age, that is hallowed territory.
Big time accomplishment. But yeah,
one of the
Yeah,
all-time
116, a touchdown on 23 carries is Jackson State got the victory in the conference, the SWAC championship over Southern, 41-13, as I said. And yeah, they get to play Atlanta at noon. It's going to be this Saturday, this coming Saturday. I think they had it to the Saturday before, but with the playoff starting, they moved a week earlier. Of course, you had the Army and Navy coming up this Saturday, but yeah, December 14th. That's this Saturday. The Celebration Bowl for Atlanta, Georgia, for the HBCU National Championship.
Yeah, man, unbelievable. So tremendous year for Irv Mulligan, who suddenly is looking like a serious draft prospect.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a guy somebody's going to draft. It feels like that's a real thing that's going to happen. At the very least, he's going to be an undrafted free agent somewhere fighting to make a team. And as we know, the way that running backs are used in the NFL these days, you can be fourth or fifth on the depth chart. There's a point in the season where you're going to get an opportunity to see what you can do. There's been some guys the last couple of weeks popping up. I can't think of his name, but Raiders had a guy that he had barely touched the ball all year, but they've been ineffective.
Well, there's so many injuries in the NFL,
Yeah.
so if somebody gets hurt, you can get an opportunity to step in and then you have a really chance to make an impact. And if it goes well, you could find an opportunity, even bigger role. So it's great to see. And you just look at some of these about some of these players and like FCS teams or from HBCU teams that make themselves noted. And there are guys who step up and earn some significant roles, which is also always great to see. I mean, to witness these guys who are coming from these schools that may not be, the top FBS programs. The NFL gives you an opportunity to make an impact, and if you get your foot in the door, you have an opportunity. Speaking of which, Andre Yusufus, who plays for the Bengals, who is playing tonight against Dallas. He was a former FCS player, I believe, and there's so many others as well. You can go down the list of a bunch of important offensive and defensive players who are. Yep. It's really cool.
Right? Tyreek Hill was at Abilene Christian, and I think they were FCS at the time.
Yeah,
there's been a bunch.
There's a ton.
But speaking of Whale Branch Warriors grinding for opportunities, D. Delaney back in the news this week, back on the practice squad with the Dallas Cowboys, aforementioned, who are playing tonight. So D is back to a heartbeat away, so to speak, from being back on the field with the Cowboys. He was on injured reserve in August, placed on injured reserve with the Bills, and was waived a week later. So he's been working back from injury, but now back on a practice squad and close to being back on a roster. So not over yet for D. Delaney. And once again, those Whale Branch Warriors, it's unbelievable the number of guys that have made it out of there and climbed to really great heights. And Nick Pringle still doing his thing over at Carolina. So, which is such a cool story, by the way. Every time that I see Nick Pringle, like in a hype reel or something like that at Carolina, I'm like, holy cow. What a journey and what a great example of what the freedom that the transfer portal brings relative to the indentured servitude of years past. What an opportunity that is. I mean, look at the trajectory of him coming out of high school. Would have loved to have an offer from Carolina, didn't. Went to Wofford, didn't work there. Went to Dodge City, put in the grind, got his body big, strong, put in the work, got on the radar, got to Alabama, had a ton of success, was a star in the NCAA tournament, was in one shining moment. And then now he gets this opportunity in the transfer portal to come back home and play for the Gamecocks, who he didn't have that opportunity coming out of high school.
Yeah,
So
that's one of the better stories coming out of the Loco in number of years. He's such an awesome individual, and he gives back to the community. And as hard of a worker as they come, Nick Pringle has been. So it's been great to follow his story. Dee Delaney as well. Whale Branch, man, they've had some terrific success stories over the years, and I feel like there's going to be a lot more to come, a lot more to come from that program. And you're continuing to see it to guys who have. By the way, another one, Xavier Chaplin, who has had a nice career as well
yes, and
over at Virginia Tech.
and appears to be on track to play in the league as well.
Yep.
I mean, that looks like an NFL offensive lineman at this stage. But Pringle averaging 8.4 points and 6.6 boards so far through 8 games. He started all 8, so I'm sure his family's loving being able to just jet up to Columbia for a home game instead of going all the way out to Tuscaloosa. So
that's definitely a shorter trip.
a little shorter.
Having to go all the way up.
Don't get to pass any Buckies though. You probably pass several
No,
Buckies.
well, there's some good stuff in Colombia. There's some good food and stuff over there. I'm sure. I've been to never been down to 5 Points, but that's the big hangout spot
Oh
apparently.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, we just always hit up East Bay Deli. That's our
yeah,
go-to.
of course, it's the spot in Charleston as well.
That's
Um,
right.
by the way,
Then
speaking
I
of
had.
other,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah, speaking of other, yeah, of we mentioned some other guys of HBUs and FCS schools. I didn't realize Cooper Cup played at the Eastern Washington, another
Oh,
FCS school.
that explains why we didn't know who he was until
Yeah,
he
but
emerged.
hey, I mean, it just goes to show you,
Oh,
it's not
yeah,
not always not always high in D1, not at all.
facts.
And
So here's another news piece. Speaking of folks from the Loco making it big, I sent you this earlier, and I don't know if you clicked through and
yeah, I
translate.
saw it.
But the headline is Juventus women market. Here is the coup coming from the USA. It's done to the young midfielder Abby Brighton from Vanderbilt University.
Okay, so I wasn't sure it was Italian, but I
Oh yeah.
translated the best I could, and it's
Well, I
very
actually clicked
funny
the
to read it
translate.
in English. I'll tell you that the translation is not the best, but
Yeah,
the basic point is Abby Brighton's going to play for the Juventus women's team,
yeah,
which is an incredible honor. Well, one of obviously Juventus is a worldwide known soccer club, one of the better clubs in the Serie A in Italy. But all these big clubs do, and the English clubs like Manchester United, um, and Liverpool and like
mhm,
they all have women's clubs as well. Arsenal down the list, and Juventus does as well. And so I haven't heard from her in a while in terms of what she has been doing after a tremendous time at Vanderbilt. Where she helped lead the Commodores, I believe, the conference championship. But yeah, quite the accomplishment for her, and someone who I've got to know well. I was actually friends with the family when they were growing up, and those her brother James, also
right.
a college soccer player, but she was she was always so competitive, and you saw the raw talent, but just also the way that she continued to get better alongside the years. My sisters were playing with them. I think they're around the same age. But what a great opportunity. Um, this article is very funny when you translate. Like, the Juventus club
Yeah,
returns to the scene of the crime thanks to intense scouting activity
yeah.
carried out in recent months. Um, yeah, so apparently they were on site in Florida to watch her at I guess when they
Yeah,
were
at the
back in college
university
or
finals,
something. It was
guys.
recent. But yeah, what a great get for Juventus. Because Abby is, I mean, she's a tremendous, she can do it all on the pitch. We saw her score a couple of big goals throughout her college career, and I mean, she just embodies so many different qualities that you want to have as a player who has demonstrated so many skills throughout her career at the college level. She became such a great leader and an important member of that team at Vanderbilt, and it showed why she made so many impactful plays for that team. So tremendous midfielder. It's so difficult to play that position, especially at the highest level with the shape, the stamina that you have to be in when you're going up against the best in the world. And that's what she's going to have the opportunity to do which says I believe she is be a part of that squad as early as the start of the new year. So, huge congratulations to someone who I've known for a while, and I'm sure that family. I know their parents very well. They must be very very proud. I mean, that's you can't get much bigger than Juventus. Like that's one of the most storied soccer
Right.
clubs in the world,
Yeah.
and so very very well earned. What a great opportunity, and we've talked about for a couple like Ryle Owens. Earning the opportunity to play overseas. That's a really cool, especially soccer. It's a global game. It's the world's
Right.
most popular game. So
Right.
there's a lot more opportunities to play abroad versus other sports. And it just what a well earned chance
Yeah.
for her to continue to, show off her skills to the globe and continue to grow as a player and rep the Lowco globally, worldwide. So that is tremendous. The women's Serie A enriched with a new stars and stripes talent. Indeed, they are. So
Juventus Juventus women has once again drawn from U.S. colleges, as
yeah,
JuventusNews24.com has learned the signing of Abby Brighton, a defensive midfielder born in 2002, an English midfielder, as those who know
what is
her
an
will
English style
describe her,
midfielder?
is done and dusted, and she will
Mm.
wear the black and white shirt starting in January at the end of her academic career. I love the dramatic writing around soccer. It's so fun. Didn't James play professionally for a little bit after Clemson too?
Yeah, I believe he did. Like, was it like MLS or was it like it was around here some.
I thought he had gone on and played somewhere, but yeah, perhaps Kettering Town.
No, he did play in England at some point.
Appears
Let's
he may have
see,
been playing for Kettering,
uh, who did
possibly
he play
still.
for? He was a left back defender. Royston Town. That must be a lower level England team. They have so many. They have so many.
It appears
He
he's
played
also
for
played Kettering Town.
Cambridge United, and he played for Cambridge City. They played for the. Yeah, he's playing for Royston. Well, that was back in 2019, or maybe I'm looking at a different player in this.
Yeah, that may be a different James Brighton. I was doing the same thing because I don't think he
Yeah,
graduated.
no, I'm a bunch of players named James Brighton. That
Yeah,
seems
there's a
like a
James
popular
Brighton who's played
a
for a number
footballing
of English
name.
football clubs,
So yeah, so that's
but he was a
there are
dog.
probably a bunch of others. However, James Brighton did. I had some opportunity to play at the professional level.
Mhm.
Uh, I, I I do remember it, but
Yeah, I remember us talking about it at one point, but regardless, I have some other soccer news. The '08 Rush soccer team from Bluffton beat the number one ranked team in the state on
ooh,
Saturday. They qualified for the State Cup in Florence, December 21st and 22nd. Only the top four teams in each age bracket qualify for the tournament. So, first South Carolina Rush team to qualify for the State Cup. So, shout out to the Loco squad.
yeah,
Getting
fantastic.
good stuff. Let's do our Loco Booster Club, and then I think we'll call it a night. Loco Booster Club supports us, so please support them if you have the occasion. Court Lifestyle Pros, Daniel and Debbie Court, are Loco natives. They're with Charter One Realty, and they want to bring you home to Hilton Head Island. Eagle Creations has a great spot over on Argent Boulevard. They can hook you up with promotional items and custom apparel, plus free or custom gift baskets and much more. They're not free. You do have to pay for them. Go check them out at Eagle Creations, see what they can do for you. Jay's Barbershop is the place to be in Ridgeland, whether you need a haircut or not. Go in for the conversation and come out looking stylish at Jay's Barbershop. Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country. Get your floors so clean, your feet will thank you. Hudson Seafood House on the Docks, the presenting sponsor of Under the Bus. We're going to have a a Wednesday afternoon episode with Curry Kirkpatrick making his triumphant return to Under the Bus, presented by Hudson Seafood House on the docks and Hurricane Sports Cafe, the place to be in Hampton. If you're hungry or thirsty, get out to Hamptons or Hurricanes and say hi from the guys at Lowco. Thank you, Ryan J. We appreciate it. Wes, you got any parting thoughts for us tonight?
Well, I'll tell you that I have there have been some crazy moments. Obviously, the national championship in 17, early 17 to 16 season was one to remember for Clemson fans. But I will say, no, I do remember the other kick that was the most memorable was Chandler Catanzaro back in
Yes.
2012 against LSU, where Clemson had a 4th and 15. They converted. They went down the field, kicked the game-winning field goal. But this one was just incredible because the air was sucked out when SMU had that comeback, and when they scored to tie it, it was pretty lifeless at that point for Clemson. But they turned to one of the more unlikeliest of heroes, and one who we kind of got to cover when he was around here, not here in the local, but like here in South Carolina, the Grand Strand. I'm talking about Adam Randall, the former Myrtle Beach wide receiver, and I'll tell you what, his career at Clemson, it has not been the best one. He has, seen his stock fall a bit down the depth chart at times, has not been the most consistent player. He's fallen out of graces of Clemson fans from time to time. Certainly made it up for what he did to spark the Tigers to get that game-winning field goal with a tremendous kickoff return across the 40 to set them up. And they were able to get the yards they need on that one play from Cade Klubnik to Antonio Williams. And then, my guy, just incredible kick, 56 yards, Nolan Hooser. And there was more significance for him because I believe that he was from around that area of Charlotte. He was a former star at Huff High School, which is right close to Bank of America Stadium, where they played that game. And so I think he had like family who were also athletes or went to Clemson. And so you talk about the bloodlines there. You talk about the kick of destiny for him. What a moment that was, and a very unlikely ending to cap a very unlikely last week or so after they lost to South Carolina, because they had a 9% chance of making the playoff after that loss to the Gamecocks. They got the help they needed and hung on for what was a crazy game against SMU. And I'll tell you what, good for SMU that they got in the playoff. I think the committee absolutely made the right decision to go with the Mustangs. Certainly, they showed it for themselves late. I wonder if Clemson blew them out, if it would have been different. If if SMU kind of didn't hang around and kind of rolled over in that second half, would the committee have changed their mind? I'm not sure, maybe, but even so, I think they made the right decision with who they gave that last spot to. It's going to spark a debate because strength of schedule. You look at schools like Alabama and Ole Miss. Alabama was the team that was the first team out. They were the team that Clemson may have knocked out as being a bid stealer, because if SMU won, obviously there would have been another spot open. So I think that the right decision was made. It's never easy in this situation. It was the first edition of the 12-team playoff. I think the committee did the best that they could in, first of all, deciding who the 12 teams should be to take part in this. And then secondly, the seeding, as much as I thought Clemson, could have gotten a bye. I do think Arizona State, with the statement that they made in their conference championship win, certainly earned that 4 seed head of Clemson. They're going to have to go on the road now to face Texas. And I'm interested to see if they will make it, because I think that they had the intent to say, okay, we're gonna make the top the top 4 conference champions get the top 4 seeds. Nobody else get a top 4 seed. I think that might be a little flawed, in a sense. I understand you want to value a conference championship, and I do think those top 5 conference champs should get in. But the automatic bye for the top 4,
Agree.
I'm not entirely sure that's going to stay.
I agree with you on every single point you made. I think they got the 2 big decisions right, which was Arizona State getting the bye, and SMU over Alabama. I also think it's absurd that the top 4 seeds don't get to play a home game. I
Right.
think it's so dumb. I think it's the biggest self-own of the whole setup is that you've created a situation where you have home games, but the top 4 seeds don't get to host one. And so I think it's just such a no-brainer to go to 16. Like, you're not going to degrade the field at all. Look who the teams that you would let in, the additional teams you would let in would be. It would be Alabama and South Carolina and
Ole
Ole Miss
Miss. Oh, yeah, the SEC
and
probably the
Miami.
potentially 3 of those teams in the SEC
Yeah,
with
and
Ole
Miami.
Miss, Alabama, and South Carolina.
And it would that was the natural break. Like, there wouldn't be an argument about who the 16th and 17th teams were. It wouldn't. And more importantly, it would allow you to then give each of those conference champions a home game, a top 8 seed,
Right.
but not a top 4 seed. So it doesn't jack up the seeding so much when you're moving the number 12 team up to 4 to get them. That messes everything up. So
Yeah.
I think I'm so excited for it. It's going to be great, but man, it would have been so much better at 16. And I hope we get there. And it only adds 4 games, and they're all home site
Yeah,
games, so it doesn't fool with the bowls. It just
yeah, I understand that. I do think that it made that like the SC championship, the winner got a bye, the loser had to play in the
sure.
first round. So there was an incentive there. Um, so I think that is important. I don't mind the 12-team bracket, but I do think that it's not going to stay 12 forever. It's
No, it's definitely
definitely
not.
going to expand
Especially when
more.
they see the ratings for these first
Right.
round games and they go, "Wait,
Yeah,
we had
yeah,
8 these instead of 4? What are we doing?"
yeah.
Like, it's silly.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to say on that subject is SMU over Alabama and why that was the right call, in my opinion. If you take Alabama over SMU, you are essentially taking a 3-loss team over a 1-loss team, because they only got that second loss because they earned their way into a
Right.
conference championship game. Had Alabama played Georgia or Texas on Saturday, they likely would have lost 2, and then they would have had 4 losses. And so, I just don't think it's fair to treat a conference championship game as a full loss in this case,
Yes.
especially if
Yeah,
it's
like, obviously, you earn the right to get there
a
versus other
fractional
teams.
loss.
Yeah, yeah, right,
And
and
so,
that's important. The other thing is, like, you do have to consider the teams that you lost to.
true.
SMU, I don't think they lost
3-point
any.
loss to BYU,
Right.
3-point loss to Clemson.
Yeah, and they lost to Clemson on a
Alabama
walk-off
lost
field goal.
21 to
Yeah,
3 to a dog Oklahoma team that lost to people with backup quarterbacks, including Mizzou.
right.
So, like, I just they were not the same to me. And the fact that people were screaming for Alabama was crazy. The other thing is the SEC bias, like the strength of the SEC is already baked in to the strength of schedule.
Right.
So then we don't need to also stack, and they play in the SEC on top of that. That is the strength of schedule argument. Strength of schedule also is not the end all be all. That is just to give you an idea of the relative difficulty of their schedule. It still matters more to win the games. The
Well,
last
in that
team
sense,
in the
will
SEC
teams
has a
schedule
strong
differently? And
yes.
now knowing how
And
the
also
schedule.
60th is not a terrible strength of
Right,
schedule.
right,
It's 108th is a terrible strength of schedule. 60th is not awful.
right.
It's splitting hairs between 20th and 60th. So I don't know. The people stumping for the SEC. I'm an SEC guy, but like, calm down, calm down. It's you were the 4th best team in the SEC.
Right, and you look
You
at some
were in
teams
the
they
top
lost
3.
to
You would
that,
have definitely
I
been.
mean, it's
I mean,
yeah,
geez, if Mizzou could tackle Lenore Sellers one more time, we're in the damn thing. But speaking of which, my parting thought is that Mizzou men's basketball is so back, baby. So back. Put down number one in the resumption of the border war and storm the court. Our coffers are $250,000 lighter for this display, but well worth it to humiliate the Jayhawks at home.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Good to see it from Mizzou, and
They did
that's one
not
of those
win
wins that
an
can
SEC game
really
last
spark
year.
a season and put them in a great spot moving forward. And so that's great to see. 9-3 to begin or that's start looking at the women's.
Yeah,
The men's
I like
side,
it.
8-1.
Yeah.
That's they only lost to Memphis
Did
very
not
early
win a
back
conference
on the
game last
first game of the year. So that's exciting. That's exciting to see if they can build off that and see if they can make a run at it. So right now, Missouri.
I'm
I can,
pumped. We ought to jump in the top 25 this week, right?
I would think so. I mean, I'm trying
Yeah,
to see where they are here.
tremendous turnaround.
Uh,
There's,
how are
Arizona
they
State.
only 49th in KenPom? I thought they'd be higher than that, but they are 8-1, so they should get
Yeah,
some pretty solid voting cred when
Arizona
it comes.
State
What were the ranking today? Because the new AP poll
should have come
came
up
out
today.
today in college basketball. Did they get any? They receive any votes? Where are they in the poll? Um, they are receiving votes. They are
Man,
receiving votes
they got
as
a
of
two
now.
to crack the top 25 around
Yeah.
here. Beat number one's not good enough.
Mm,
Jeez.
Clemson
Jeez.
16.
Show me a little spec. Put some spec on it. I know we
Yeah.
didn't win an SEC game last year, but you know what? Arizona State football was picked 14th out of 14 in the Big 12, and they got a bye in the first round of the playoffs now.
How about
So
that?
look out for Mizzou in March, baby.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we got some good stuff on tap tomorrow night, so we'll definitely have to get together. Big, heavy basketball slate. Battery Creek at Beaufort, Richmond Hill at Bluffton. That's a good matchup. JP2 at May River, Hampton County at Allendale, Bridges Prep at Memorial Day, Hilton Head Christian at Cross Schools, Hilton Head Prep at St. Andrews, Colleton Prep at Calhoun Academy. Speaking of which, Colleton Prep girls still unbeaten. Coastal Homeschool at Holy Trinity. So I got some good ones. And then some wrestling over at JP2. They'll be hosting Bluffton, Colleton County, and Thomas Hayward. So good stuff. Good stuff. Lots of
Yeah. Gonna get right into it this next week or this coming week. Yeah, not too much, but there are some good games tomorrow. Battery Creek Beaver, great rivalry game. Bluffton Richmond Hill. That's a home game for the Bobcats.
those
Let's see
games
how they
are
do
really fun.
there.
Yeah.
Can they bounce back from a tough showing against Hilton Head Prep on both sides, the girls and the guys. Myra Brown had a nice game, by the way, as I mentioned earlier. She's going to be the player they're going to look to, but yeah, I saw some young ladies really step up as well in that game. So looking forward to that one. May River's gonna be a good one, especially that guy's game. It should be really tight. Hilton Christian Cross, Bridges Prep at Memorial Day. That might be intriguing. Then Hampton, Allendale, Fairfax. So yeah, a lot of fun non-conference, non-region games to really get things rolling. And yeah, should be interesting. Going to learn a lot more about some of these teams. Then Friday we get Hilton Prep and Christian again at the Cove, and a couple other nice, local and local games where you have different teams, different classifications going against each other. But hey, they love playing against each other, especially JP2 Bridges Prep. That one could be fun. The boys' side as well. Yeah, so a
Yeah.
bunch of good ones to start off. This first month of hoop season.
Yeah, man. We're rolling through it quick. And before we know it, it'll be Christmas, and then we'll be talking about region play. real soon. So good stuff going on. Lots to talk about on the Lowdown. We'll see you again tomorrow night, and Max should be back with us as well. So we'll see who else we can round up. Talk local sports here on the Loco Sports Lowdown. Thanks to all of our sponsors, especially the OGs, Mickelson Law Firm. We appreciate your support over the years. And if you want to become a sponsor, hit us up, LowcoSports@gmail.com, or find us on the socials, and we'll give you the deets and get you on board. And tell everybody about you here on the Loco Sports Lowdown. Thanks, Wes. It was fun. The OGs, rolling solo, low-key show. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Old time's sake. And glad you got your computer back up and running. It's good to see you in high quality again, baby. So we'll be back tomorrow night. Thanks for joining us tonight. And for Wes Kerr, I'm Justin Jarrett. Till next time, go Loco.
The Loco Sports Lowdown podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Lowco.